Hello everyone. So we are continuing with your answer writing for Geography Tspsc Group 1. So let us start our session. So what do you understand by the phenomena of El Nino? Okay. So what do you understand by the term or the phenomena of El Nino? Number one. How does it influence Indian monsoons? So there are two types questions. Two questions are there here. So one question is, what do you understand by the phenomena of El Nino? So in my answer, two things will be coming. One, I have to explain El Nino concept. Second, I have to explain how this El Nino will impact your Indian monsoons. How they are going to impacting your Indian monsoons. So these are the two things which I need to see. So see here, first I have to explain the phenomena of the El Nino, how does it influence, then the conclusion. Okay. So first, El Nino is a periodic phenomena which occur on 25th December at the Peruvian coast. It occurs which affect the Pacific Ocean. Okay, which Pacific Ocean? The eastern part of the Pacific Ocean at the Peruvian coast. What will happen? Generally, the southeast trade winds which are blowing from your Peruvian coast will be weakened. Okay, how they are weakened, why they are weakened, let us see. So, every 2 to 7 years, this phenomena occurs. In usual courses, the east and western circulations, the eastern part of the Pacific Ocean as well as the western part of the Pacific Ocean, the atmosphere above the tropical Pacific Ocean, it is called as a Walker cell. They change. The eastern part, the western part of the Pacific Ocean, the phenomena changes, the weather pattern changes. Why? It is because of the El Nino effect, and that impacts your Indian monsoon. So what are the major things? You see, first we have to know in the normal part what will happen. This is about your El Nino phenomena. Okay, this is your El Nino phenomena, and this is your normal circulations. What will happen? This is your Peruvian coast. You see, this is a Peruvian coast. So during the Peruvian coast, what will happen? The southeast trade winds which are moving like this. Okay, the southeast trade winds. This is your Peruvian coast. So the southeast trade winds which are moving here, and this is your equator. This is the equator. So tell me, can I say that the equator, at the equator, whatever the water which is there, that is a warm water here. All this water area will be a warm water here. This is a warm water. So what will happen? The southeast trade winds are so strong that they will remove this warm water. They will drag this warm water. So the warm water is transferred from the Peruvian coast, that is an East Pacific, to the West Pacific. From the East Pacific to the West Pacific. This is a West Pacific Ocean. And this is your East Pacific Ocean. Eastern part of your Pacific Ocean. So what will happen here? There will be a change in the sea level. From where? From the Peruvian coast to the Indonesia. So at the Peruvian coast, cold upwelling zones will be formed. So this cold upwelling zones, what will happen? This cold upwelling zones. Now, cold upwelling zones will be formed. That means the water is moving from warm water is moving. So can I say in the West Pacific Ocean there will be a high temperatures increases. Why increases? Why? Because of the warm water which has been transported. From where? From the Peruvian coast to the Indonesian coast. Indonesia is nothing but your West Pacific coast. So at the Indonesia, your warm water is transported from Peru and the temperatures rises. Sea surface temperature rises. So as the sea surface temperature rises, can I say it is a low pressure system? It will be low pressure system. And as it is a low pressure system, if you look at here, as it is a Indonesia, there is a low pressure system here, low pressure system, and this is your Indian coast. This is your Indian coast, right? So this is your America, North America, and your South America. So this is your equator, right? So here equator. So what will happen? The water is transported from here to here. Water is transported. That is your warm water. In the normal form, warm water is transported. So what will happen now? There is a low pressure. So as it is low pressure, convective system will develop and air will rise. Air will rise. And this air leads to formation of clouds. Right? Leads to formation of clouds. And there will be a precipitation. And the divergence of the air will be your high pressure system, which is synced here. High pressure. And at the Arabian region or African coast, high pressure is maintained. And because of this high pressure, what will happen? From high pressure, India subcontinent, there will be low pressure. It will be attracting the winds. So southwest monsoons will be normal during this time. Okay, during this time it will be normal. You can see here that it is, here you see, southwest monsoon will be normal. And this cell, generally this cell is called Walker cell. Walker circulation. This is a general phenomena that is taking place during the normal year. But during the El Nino, the reverse takes. What happens here? You see, this warm water, instead of, these southeast trade winds, So during the El Nino, the phenomena will get reverse and your Indian monsoons will get impacted. So what will happen during the El Nino? During the El Nino phenomena, see, during the El Nino, during the El Nino, the southeast trade winds will become weak. Southeast trade winds will become weak. Why? It is because of the waxing and waning period of the sun. Or due to the changes that are taking place in the climatic conditions. So what will happen now? You see, these are weakened. So the equatorial water is not driven out. Okay, warm water is not driven out here. Instead of that, there will be warm water at the Peruvian coast. Warm water. And this warm water, temperatures will be rising in the Peruvian coast. Now temperature, low pressure system, air will rise. So air will rise like this. As the air rises, what will happen? They will diverge. And where they will sink? They will sink at the Indonesian coast. That is a West Pacific Ocean. And West Pacific Ocean will record what? Will record the positive side. That is a high pressure belts. Okay. Strong El Nino. Weak El Nino, there will be this phenomena. Weak El Nino, negative. But strong El Nino, positive. And here it is a negative. So what will happen? The warm water will be driven. Okay. These are called as Kelvin currents. And the warm water is nothing but El Nino currents. Okay, El Nino currents. And this will create what? Again, there will be a low pressure here at the Arabian coast or African coast. And air will rise. And air will submerge where? At the Indonesia. So this will create southwest negative Indian dipole. This is nothing but negative Indian dipole. Indian dipole. What is positive Indian dipole? Just now I told you in the normal. This is your normal. So we have positive Indian dipole here. So what will happen? Because of the El Nino, the warm water, which is the water which has to, winds which has to be stronger, which drags the water from your Arabian Sea or Indian Ocean or Bay of Bengal into the India, they are getting weakened. Okay, so see here how they are. Now, during the El Nino phenomena, the Walker cell is weakened and shifted eastward. As a result, the cold Peruvian current in East Pacific Ocean is temporarily replaced by warm. Okay, cold Peruvian current is replaced by warm current. So El Nino is also closely associated with pressure change in the Central Pacific and Australia. These changes in pressure over the Pacific Ocean is nothing but southern oscillation. And El Nino conditions are said to be developed when sea surface temperature stay above 0.5 degree for more than 5 to 6 months. Okay, that is nothing but weakening of the trade winds will take place, waxing and waning of the sun. Okay, or due to the climate related changes. Then what will happen? How the influence you see? El Nino leading to warming of whole middle Pacific Ocean and thus cause very low atmospheric pressure in that area. Whenever there is a low pressure belt extended to the eastern Pacific Ocean, part of the Indian Ocean, it creates low pressure in that particular area. And the Indian monsoon is primarily driven by low pressure cell over the Indian subcontinent, which attract the southeast trade winds from the equator. However, the low pressure is on eastern central of Indian Ocean due to the El Nino, comparatively stronger low pressure formed on the landmass. So therefore the winds from the high pressure area of Arabian Sea begins blow towards southeast, not southeast. So southeast Indian Ocean. In this way, El Nino generally leads to reduce the rainfall in the southwest monsoons. Okay, so this is your phenomena that is taking place. So further, some studies also suggested that northeast monsoons strengthened with the El Nino pick up the moisture from the Bay of Bengal and create heavy rainfall in the peninsula, particularly in the Tamil Nadu region. However, El Nino alone cannot be used to predict Indian monsoons. Indian monsoon is very complex phenomena which involves so many factors like Mendelian-Julian oscillation, okay, or dipole, or Pacific, the Pacific Ocean's temperature changes, etc. So these are the some of the things. So this is about your El Nino. Let us discuss second question. So discuss the issues of drought, flood cycle in India. How better infrastructure of water management can help in preventing frequent droughts and floods. Okay, so how they are going to prevent your frequent droughts and floods. This is your first thing. Then, now what is the demand of the question? Here we have to write about the floods or the El Nino, floods or the droughts. Then reasons for the frequent droughts and floods and how infrastructure can prevent them. Then conclusion. See here. Now let us see. First, from the statistical point of view, that in the last 2 years, there was a devastating, not last 2 years, we can write from last 5 years, there are devastating floods which occurred in Bihar, Assam, in central India, even in southern part of the India and western part of the India. Like southern India, Chennai, Bangalore, even Hyderabad. And also, there is a failure of the monsoons and for a consecutive years, this led to severe droughts, where severe droughts occurred in your eastern part of India, eastern part and even southern part of the India, right? So what are the issues of the floods and drought? So first, geographical variation. So India receives variety of, there is a erratic rainfall or variability of rainfall India receives, okay? Because of the erratic monsoon, there is a variability of the rainfall. pattern in different parts of the country. That is not surprising to see one part of the country is facing destruction of floods, while at the same time the other part is staying drought. Like you see that this is your India, this is India, right? So during the monsoon seasons, during monsoon seasons, these parts are getting heavy rainfall. Okay, these parts are getting heavy rainfall, but these parts are becoming drier. Okay, they are becoming dry, and even these parts are becoming dry parts, or these parts are becoming dry. These parts are becoming dry. These are also areas which are becoming drier in nature. Dry. So some parts are getting huge amount of rainfall, and some parts are getting, they are becoming dry at the same time. So there is your geographical variation. First thing is geographical variation. Second, monsoon which is getting delayed. Drought is often caused by delay of onset of monsoon. Generally we say 1st June is an onset, but IMD has predicted, in the recent report of IMD also reports that by a week monsoons are delayed by a week or 10 days, and also withdrawal is also getting delayed. This is the erratic nature of the monsoons. So early withdrawal of the monsoons, however, diminishing groundwater levels. Early withdrawal, sometimes there is a withdrawal delay and also early withdrawal. So what will happen? Without, that if the monsoons are getting withdraw or onset, the amount of water which the area needs to get, that is delayed, plus the groundwater recharge is getting delayed. So increase of frequency of disasters, mismanagement of water resources. Like why the drought occur? Because of the water intensive crops, growing water intensive crops, where in the drought prone areas, you are growing water intensive crops like paddy or rice, wheat, etc. Okay, so that's why India receives water roughly around 2 months, but the storage capacity is not there. First of all, mismanagement in water resources, and also at the same time, when you are in the drought prone areas, you are growing, you are using depleting, over exploitation of groundwater. Groundwater is taking place. Then deforestation. When you deforest it, water, whatever the surface waters are there, without percolating, they will run off, mix, and if there are no storages, lack of storages, they will merge into the oceans or the seas. Okay, the deforestation is a major factor. Catchment area is gradually being reduced in the size. More rainwater is running off instead of percolating into the soil and contributing to the groundwater, right? So this is your deforestation. Then groundwater exploitation, I told you, and the siltation of the rivers. Due to the siltation of the rivers, the imminent cause of floods occur. That is nothing but, best example I can give you two things. One, Kosi River in Bihar, which because of the siltations that occurs, and also Brahmaputra, which occurs, this Assam, recent floods also due to the siltations which takes place. Then rapid urbanization, particularly, they are encroached by the water bodies are been encroaching. Water bodies are being encroached. So these are some of the major factors, and also better infrastructure can help in preventing the droughts and floods. Like this replenishing of groundwater, which is the most fundamental requirement towards dealing with the large issues of droughts and floods. Right, first thing. Second, trees, afforestation, which have good water holding capacity. Then urbanization needs to be carefully planned, right? And also regulations on or strict monitoring, strictly monitoring the water bodies, so that first it should not be polluted by the solid waste. Second, it should not be encroached by the things. So these are the two things. Urbanization has to be carefully planned. Then conclusion, from the scientific hydrology, traditional methods of water conservation has to be done. It should be made mandatory. Water conservation or rainwater harvesting should be made mandatory for each house which is constructed. Money should be pumped into the ecological research, and also solutions such as pan-India interlinking of river bodies has to take.